The Manuscript of Survival, Part 392. January 28, 2014. The increasing activity in the sky will also induce some increased activities within you all. And no, we are not simply referring to all of that dreaded physical moaning and groaning that your body is apt to perform. Rather, we are referring to those activities that you are all eagerly awaiting, in the form of a deeper connection not only with those aspects of you have yet to make acquaintance with, but also with the rest of creation. For now, these long-hidden doors will start to creak slowly open, and one by one, you will start to see glimpses of light where you before have seen nothing but blankness. And yes, we do mean that in every description of the word light, for the light you will start to distinguish will come in many shapes and forms, and we venture to guess that after this, you will no longer think of light as merely a way of illuminating the surroundings. For we think you will start to realize just what light is, for it is so much more than a particle or indeed a wave, the two conditions your scientists like to define it as. Light is indeed far more variable than that, as it can be likened to a living entity, and a highly intelligent one at that. For light is so much more than the opposite of darkness, and light is so much more than the presence of something that can be seen. Light is also a carrier of whole worlds of knowledge and information, and yes, we do mean worlds as in the one you are currently inhabiting. As we have told you before, the concept of mass is merely an illusion, a trick of the light if you will, and by, you will soon start to get the gist of what we are implying now. For again, we will give you this in the form of little snippets of information, some will perhaps even call it disinformation, for we are never the ones that will give you any answers outright. Much to the dismay of some, but still, this is all part of that much-mentioned general plan. For you are the true explorers here, and in order for you to truly regain your true glory and indeed greatness, you must find a way to enter that greatness by your own volition. And as such, you will be asked to reach deep within for any answer that you may seek, and yes, they are all there for you to find, if you choose to do so. And no, this is not simply a ploy set up to give us a leeway out of any commitment, this is simply the name of the game if you will. For you came here to remember, in order to resurrect not only yourselves, but this whole planet also from the clutches of fear and despair, and from the deep, deep pit of powerlessness humanity have hurled themselves into. So just like someone walking with crutches for a long time, your mind will tell you to keep holding on to those crutches, even after your body is more than strong enough to walk freely without them. And when we say crutches, we refer of course to that old and dare we say inbred notion of the need to be rescued by an outside rescue mission, in the form of some gung-ho troops sweeping in to sweep you off your feet and put everything back into order again, while you watch timidly from a corner somewhere, like a shy maiden at a tournament. Well, this is not a game, nor a tournament, this is simply a lesson in growing back to your former glory, and as such, this is not a spectator sport in any way. We know our words will be irksome and annoying to some, as they do go against the grain at times, but we are simply trying to remind you of your former glory, the better to make you ready and eager to regain that glory, by opening yourself up to the knowledge that lies behind those seemingly watertight compartments put up by your human mind. And yes, they may seem unbreakable and unassailable, but they are no more real than the rest of the illusion you see around you. And yes, just like that illusion seems to be the only reality you can rely on, the fact that you are an all-knowing and wise soul deeply connected to the vastness of creation will seem to be no more real than the illusion presented in your films. But in fact the opposite is the real truth, but this switch between what is perceived as real and what is perceived as mere illusion or even delusion is a hard one to make, and that is why we will keep pushing and prodding you with our words and with the energy that these messages contain, and that is why the light is keeping up doing the same. For this light that we mentioned at the beginning of this message is an interesting one indeed, for it is not simply what you see whenever you push a button or a switch in a dark room in order to bring the light in there. No, this is something far more complex indeed, and so, it will also serve to push and prod at you in all sorts of ways, and not only as the light be present as a visible presence. In other words, the light we refer to is also that which you cannot see, for as we have already mentioned, the visible spectrum of light according to the human eye and indeed brain is an extremely narrow one, and you will simply see a small sliver of it. But now, you will be inundated with the full bandwidth if you will, and this light will start to talk to you in all sorts of ways. So yes, especially during the night time, when there may be no discernible light at all, will you be surrounded and indeed bathed in this light that comes in all shapes and forms as we mentioned earlier. So at times, you may find yourself almost crowded in by it. We say this in order to make you understand that these forms of light will indeed behave in ways that you have yet to experience, and as such, they might be apt to trigger remnants of fear within some of you. For they may seem to be foreign, and as you will perhaps be exposed to much of this during the night, it will be easy to fall into the conclusion that there must be something dark and sinister about this unseen light. And so, the step to think that this must be some form of unknown darkness instead will be a short one. But again we say, stay centered, and stay safe in the knowledge that you are all protected in all sorts of ways, and the only danger you will encounter is that of your mind trying to send you into a tailspin of fear because it is uncertain as to how to encounter these new and very foreign feeling frequencies. So the only thing you need to do is to literally step into this light with your light, and then you will find yourself being greeted by something you realize is a long-lost friend. For your light is the only guiding light you will need, and as long as you remember to hold your light high, you will never step away from it, and you need not fear going into fear. For your mind will always try to protect you whenever it encounters something unknown, and it will do so by triggering your own inherent danger signals, and it will do so at the first whiff of something that may feel off because it is something that it is not familiar with. Again, all you need to do is to be the light at all times, and then you will see the light coming in for what it is. And never fear, dear ones, that there might be some unseen darkness also lurking in the corners. For the darkness will never step forwards into your own light, nor into any other form of light, and as such, it can never come into your presence ever again. For you are sovereign beings, each and every one of you, and it is up to each and every one of you to choose what you want to interact with or not. This new light may take some time getting used to, but it will not advance any further than you allow it to. It might be pushy in the form of making its presence known, but it will not cross the borders you yourself erect and invade you in any way. It will simply wait until it is invited in. But again, it will let you know it is there, so it might continue to come a knocking from time to time if you choose to withhold your invitation for a while. You see, it is here to help you, and it has been ordered to do so by the power that runs through all of creation, but again, it cannot do so against your will. For as we have told you before, it is indeed up to each and every one of you to choose the speed and indeed the direction and the duration of your journey, and as such, we can only put all of the available tools to your disposal. Whether or not you choose to pick them up and take them into use, is up to you. But this new tool, this light of many names, is a tool that is eager to be put into use by you all, and so, it will also be eager to announce its presence in your vicinity, so do not be surprised if you hear it knocking on your door. And yes, it might do so during the darkest hours of the night, but again, that does not mean it is a signal of something not of the light, far from it. And when it does come knocking, you will know what it is if you answer the door with your light. For then, these different forms of light will know how to speak to each other in a language that you also will understand. For the light will speak in the language of love, the only language it knows. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com